Hello, I'm Pastor Nanette Christopherson from Love of Christ Lutheran Church, and we're going to do a godly play lesson today. The name of the story is The Mystery of Pentecost. The publisher of this material is Church Publishing, and it is under copyright and owned by Godly Play. Well, I have before me a different kind of box. If you have been part of Godly Play before, you know that this looks a lot like a parable box. But it's a different color. What do you notice that's different about it? I hope you said that you noticed that it's the color red. And it is, and that's part of the title, The Mystery of Pentecost. Because in our church season, we have the color red. I wonder what's inside the box. Well, let's get started and see. Wonder what this is. I don't think we've ever seen a red overlay before. I bet you can guess why we have a red overlay. Did you say because the box is red? Absolutely. And we're about to start a new season called Pentecost. Well, there once was a tower. And there were people who thought that they could build a huge tower. And by building a huge tower, they would become closer to God. Well, soon the tower became so big that the people building it thought it was all about them, that they were the ones that were able to make it so tall. In fact, they believed it was more about them than getting closer to God. So when God heard this, he decided that it wasn't about him anymore. It was about the people believing in themselves and not in him. So he dispersed all the people, and the tower came down, and people started begin to talk in different languages. It was called the Tower of Babel. And when this happened, people went their own ways, talking their different languages all over the world. Well, thousands of years passed. Then Jesus died on the cross. But somehow he was still with the people around him, as he is with us. They kept seeing him, and they couldn't let him go. Then one day, something amazing happened. It was when the disciples were in Jerusalem. This is the city walls of Jerusalem. And something so amazing happened that they saw Jesus ascend up into heaven. The disciples were there. Peter, James, Bartholomew, James the brother John, and John was also there. Simon and Jude and Thomas and Matthew and Philip and Bartholomew. They were all there in a circle, standing there. looking up to heaven. Now there were only 11 of them, for Judas had killed himself. So they were trying to figure out who they might include as the next disciple. The Holy Spirit helped them decide, and Matthias ended up joining them too. So there were 12 of them again. Then, on a Sunday, the 12 were together again. Suddenly, there was a sound like a mighty wind rushing over them, rushing all around. It was like something they had never heard of before. It was the Holy Spirit. They became so full of its power that they seemed to be on fire. Their tongues burned in their mouths. They were so excited that people wondered what was going on. When the disciples went out on the street, the people were there from many different countries, and they spoke many different languages. And as the disciples went out, they were speaking different languages, and people could understand them in their own language. People around there thought something was wrong with them with all the different languages they were hearing. And someone even said that they think that these disciples had been drinking. But it was only 9 o'clock in the morning. Then Peter stood up and said, "No, we are not drunk. We have been given a gift." They have come close to God. They had been given the gift of the Holy Spirit. God had come close to them in a whole new way. It no longer mattered that they spoke different languages. The disciples had become apostles. They went out into the world to tell this story. Ever since, Pentecost has been celebrated as a day to remember the gift of the Holy Spirit given to the disciples. I wonder what part of the story you liked the best. I wonder if there's a part of the story that we could take out and the story would still be the same. I wonder where you were, or where are you in this story? What part of the story is about you? I wonder if you have ever come close to something like this. And I wonder if there's anything in our church that reminds you of this. I wonder. Now it's your turn to go and tell the story of the Holy Spirit.